Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. Join me as we have a real-life discussion on how to change your life by changing your thoughts. Remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth. You're listening to the Create What You Speak podcast. My name is Sloan Fremont, and I'm your host. How often do we say the phrase, have a great day? Have you really ever thought what it takes to actually have a great day? How you can set yourself up to make sure that you're going to have a good day and what that might entail? In this episode, we're going to find out exactly how to do that. Joining me today is Jarrett Robertson, author of the book, Make It a Great Day, How to Feel Awesome So That You Can Help Others. We all know there are so many how-to books out there that involve so much time, money, energy, and resources. And this can get overwhelming. It can feel impossible. It can feel like, oh, there's no way I can do that. But Jarrett makes this process simple and fun and shows us how easy it can be to take control of our days and actually make it a great day. So Jarrett, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Son. I'm excited.
So let's start out. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what the catalyst was for writing Make It a Great Day?
I've always been known, I suppose, as the rainbow and butterflies guy, which is fun. And after so many years of growing up, hearing that, I just started to tune into that a bit more, thinking, okay, great. I love being happy. So let's continue to be happy. That's fun. I want to be around happy people. So this is fun. When the pandemic started, my leadership team and my leader, we had these different projects were coming out. I was responsible for, to get to the end of the point, a project called Project Number 4, which was health and well-being. These ideas to send out to, I think there was 200 or 300 advisors saying, here. And then what I did was I had a client of mine and a friend who had written a book 2-3 years ago, and he kept encouraging me. So my client and friend who I watched him write a book, and then some of these things that started coming out through Project Number 4, which is one of the chapters in the book. Right. I brought them together and continued to write because it was just really, I said a lot to say it, a lot, I guess I discovered through all these people wondering, have a great day, or what do I do to work out, eat healthy, all the kind of those top reasons. I thought, I know some whys behind this. I'm gonna write about some whys, right? So that's how it all came to be.
Awesome. Well, and what I loved about the book is that, like I said in the intro, is a lot of this stuff is so simple. It's just the awareness of, and I think really setting the intention that you actually want to have a great day, right? Not this cliche thing that we're saying with maybe like empty meaning as we leave the grocery store or as we pass by somebody on the street, right? Like to genuinely mean that you want to have a great day. The steps to do that are actually pretty simple.
Yeah. And learning it, right? So the thing, when I say to somebody or someone says, have a great day, I go, what? What do you mean have? Right. I don't control have. Go around, have a great day. How do I have a great day? Where I thought, make it. I'll make this a great day. And listen, there's a ton of uncontrollables. Pandemic, my Lord. I've got 2 little boys, my wife, work, business, client, the thing. There's uncontrollables. So what I wanted to do was try to take back as much control as possible. Say, wait a sec, that didn't go well. Cool. How do I feel about other things? Now let's do this because this will make it better, right? Does it correct? It'll correct it. Does it make it better? Maybe not all the time, but there's things I can do that I know will give me a better mood or put me in a better position or make it a great day. And the big ones are, work out, eat healthy. Got it, right? Do some exercise. Got it. So I wanted a whole bunch of little things that these things we do every day. Here's why. Pretty neat. Right.
And that language, the use of the language is so important. We talk about that a lot on the show about your words have meaning, right? And like you were saying, have versus make, one word, but such a difference brings such a different energy to you as a person, but also to your mindset or to almost having that you're in the driver's seat, right? Taking that control back about how your day is going to go.
We all, I've done a lot of research on the certainty and uncertainties. And again, I'm not a big fan of talking about the pandemic, but one of the biggest things I researched through the pandemic was uncertainty and fear. Yeah. And things I've learned more of and talked to some people about. The uncertainty portion is what threw people for an absolute spin. It's still sending people for a spin. You gotta believe something. Yeah, you have to. If you travel somewhere, you send your children to daycare, like I need some type of certainty. So that's been a big one for me, is just taking back some certainty in my life, or some control there, so that I can move forward, right? Or make it a great day. So it's just the ability of, this went wrong. That threw me off. What can I do to make it a great day? So yeah, I think that uncertainty part was a big help as well.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about a typical day for most of us, right? We're confronted with a lot of things, right? News, social media, our jobs, our families, our schedules. And you have some great insight in the book about how we can choose how we approach these areas of our lives, right? Especially social media and consumption of so-called news and those types of things. So can you tell us, let's start out maybe talking about, I think everybody knows, but as a reminder, really how these things impact our days, right? Especially at the end of our day when we're getting ready to go to sleep. And maybe also, you mentioned in the book about hijacking in the brain.
Amygdala hijacking.
Amygdala hijacking?
Amygdala hijacking, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that, about both of those.
So here, I literally was just researching going back, reading some papers that I've gone through, and some presentations. Dr. Daniel Crosby presented to us, I guess it'd be 3-4 years ago now. And he just grabbed my attention. One of the things he discussed was when participants were hooked up to an fMRI, so an MRI for your brain, while they were watching the news. Part of the brain responsible for decision-making and creative thinking went to sleep. Like, that blew my mind, right? So I'm doing research on this. I'm like, who's Dr. Daniel Crosby? Let me read about this more. But right there alone. So basically I see that as this, just staring, taking in the information, and okay, I don't have to decide. I don't need to think. That's the truth. And that's what news has become, I believe. And social media, if you're not strong enough mentally to go on and say, wow, Sloan and Jared had a great time. Look at their picture on Instagram. And wow, they were doing really well. I have no idea, Sloan, how the rest of your day is going to go. I don't know what happened 5 minutes before this, vice versa for me, but we can be like, hey, smile. Oh, we're doing great. So the news and social media, I think, has had such an impact on us. And the news for me in general, I've questioned, like, why don't we, for the last day and a half, my kids and I have been outside building a fort. My wife, all of us been out. It's been so much fun. Where's the news on that one?
Right.
Why? That's boring. No one's going to watch it, right? Then your ratings go down, then you don't get sponsorship money. So I get the economic side of it, but it's frustrating to see. And like, the news just give me anything anymore. The weather, I've said to my wife, I go, the weather has lied to us for, a month straight. It's going to rain. It's going to snow. I'm like, it's really nice outside. What are we doing? And that, I guess, transitions to the amygdala hijacking part that, when I learned a ton about the amygdala, and I love it, the examples I have are, when have you taken a bite of food in a restaurant and went, oh, gross, right? Just, you got this emotion because you took this food in, your brain assigned this gross, and you spit, like, that was inappropriate. Or you lash out at your kids, you lash out at your spouse, a colleague, your boss says something to you, and you just lash back. So that's the amygdala hijack. Just takes control to protect you. So you take in anything from an outside source, hear it, see it, taste it, sounds, and then your amygdala assigns an emotion, right? It can go as much as someone saying, I love you. Oh, automatically, right? Or whatever it is, I hate you. Oh. Yeah. So it'll assign an emotion, and then from there you decide how you want to react. And if I hear I love you and I go, geez, that was a reaction I didn't expect. Or maybe you say I love you back, or I hate you, and you punch the person. Geez, you could walk away to that. So that amygdala hijack it's a pretty cool thing to recognize. But the biggest thing to take away there is that you actually can control the reaction. And that's huge. It takes a lot of practice, but that's a huge part of emotional intelligence.
Let's go back to the research you talked about at the beginning there about the part of your brain getting turned off when someone watches the news, the creativity and so literally when you're watching the news, you're taking it. Is that what this is saying? That it's taken all as truth, as what's being presented as truth?
That's how I took it. So when I listened to it, it says, when people were hooked up to an fMRI and they watched the news, then the part of the brain, which I don't know that part, so I'm not going to pretend to be the expert, but the part of the brain that's responsible for critical thinking and decision making went to sleep. And the way I took that was, okay, so what does, again, the pandemic, what does the pandemic say today? This, numbers, cases, counts, shut down. That's the truth. We're not going anywhere. We're shut down. This is chaotic.
Right.
When in reality, if you said, okay, thanks for the information, what else can I learn and find and whatnot? Like that's been the biggest thing for 24 months, but that can go on the news for anything that you take in, right?
Right.
So that's, I think, the part that really stood out to me the most was, and dig a little deeper from there. And really this relates back to the book for me, Sloan, is the book, the point of it is for people to go, all right, research more on that. All right, research more on that. And that's, yes, where it started from the book, how it started was a couple of years ago, 6-7 years ago. Simon Sinek was introduced to me, his why video. And I just, from there, it was, research more, right. Heard this word, heard that word, research more. So that's the ultimate goal for the book, is to say, look, here's a lot of things I've learned and that I know and that I've experienced. Go ahead, research some more on that, right?
And I love that, because that's not telling someone what to believe. It's here's some information I'm presenting for you, and now it's your choice to go decide what you want to do with it.
Right.
And that, again, I'm fascinated on this research piece also, and that part of the brain shutting off, because what I noticed for myself over the past 2 years was that, and I got to this point, and I still do this today, was what was being presented on TV and what I saw in my reality were not the same things, right? I would see what was being presented on TV, but then I look around or I talk to my friends and I'm like, I'm not experiencing that. Nobody I know is experiencing that. Nobody I know that knows anybody's experiencing that. And so that when you're talking about that part of our brain, that reasoning part of our brain is being shut off, it's like starting to, be able to understand that impact, which it seems like we all know at a surface level, staring at the TV is not good for us. However, we still find ourselves doing it. And so these types of, what you're pointing out in your book about this parts of our brain getting shut off, or on the amygdala hijacking, how we can actually, anything we consume, also, we're going to assign an emotion to it, right? We're going to be, feel one way or the other, indifferent, unjust, like scared, sad, whatever. But having I think the awareness of this is actually what's going on inside, to me was like, okay, that's why I do those things. And here's why I'm not going to do those things anymore, if that makes sense.
It totally does. And, and to elaborate more on the news idea and this world. So why I haven't watched the news in, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It's on in places and I see it.
Right.
And I would argue, without knowing, all of them, or the vast majority of the psychologists in the world, the thought leaders, right, up to the Tony Robbinses, the Les Browns, we have Dr. Jordan Peterson here in Toronto that I follow a lot. I don't think any of them watch the news, but I can't speak for them. I would be shocked if any of them did. Here's what I think in today's society with, at our fits, you can find anything. If you want to learn about politics, Google it, type it in, you'll read a whole bunch of things. And then you're deciding, all right, I'm going to go in to learn about Trump, what's going on there. I'm going to learn about Trudeau. I'm going to, I really want to know what's going on in the pandemic today. I can figure it out. And then I'm prepared for it. So now I'm just, here we go, right? No difference than I'm going to the gym, I'm going to work out. As opposed to me going to Sloan's house and you say, hey, hit the treadmill for 30 minutes, do 1,000 push. What? Sloan, this wasn't the plan. What are you doing? So, you have a bit of control there. And I just think in this day and age, I have this conversation with the baby boomers all the time. My family, friends, colleagues said, what is it about the news? Well, I need to know what's going on. I'm like, right. Absolutely. I'm okay with that. That's some certain thing. And you've been used to it. You've grown up on the news forever. Totally get it. At what point can you not just go and find out what's going on? At every second you can ask Siri now, right? I can ask Alexa, what's going on today? You can find out the news immediately and you control that, as opposed to just staring there and then learning some things like, wow, this part of my brain's turning off. And decision making and critical thinking, some really awesome parts of the brain. And first thing in the morning, you're just turning that part off when your brain's ready to be fed all this, positivity, and you're giving it crap.
Right. And feeding on that. And it sets the tone. It definitely does not make it a great day when you do that. And I used to be guilty of that, but I've been really conscious of that and really aware that I'm tired of having these outside influences that aren't really representative of reality controlling my days. I'm tired of it. I'm done. And so let's go into a little bit. Your book talks about how hormones play a big role in how we feel. And the one that I was, there's various hormones that I can't pronounce most of them, but the hormone cortisol, you talked about in the book about it has a half-life of 18 minutes, which really means that when that flares up, in the moment, it feels so intense, but how quickly that kind of emotion can fade away if we just give it the time to do so. So can you talk a little bit about how this works and maybe what surprised you the most when you were researching this?
18 minutes. That's what I was like, whoa, what? So here's more of it. So there's your ability to the short-term thinking, have about 7 to 9 sort of short thoughts in your head at once. That's a known thing out there. Some have 5, some can have a little more. And what that is be able to recall information right away. What's on your mind right now? People think they have 1,000 things in their mind, but in reality, you have about 7 to 9 all at once. When you start to become under stress and anxiety, they start to go away, right? So it comes all the way down. And the research shows that you're basically in black and white mode. So the best is an argument with your spouse, right? Children, I guess, too, but you're being the parent. But I'd say an argument with a spouse would be the best, because all of a sudden you get down to this black and white and it's, I'm right, you're wrong.
Right. All or nothing thinking.
Right. It's a known thing. You just commit to it because it's a fearful thing and you need to win in this moment. And it's, I'm right, you're wrong. If you're able to recognize the conversation and have the maturity and emotional intelligence to be like, whoa, this is getting heated. Explain to me, Sloan, what you mean I'm not quite on the right path. That takes a whole different path. Right. Other than getting heated up. So the cortisol thing, you recognize it's raising up. And then the research is saying, look at, let's take a 10-minute break. Let me take a walk. This isn't going the way I expected it to. I really want your opinion on this. I'm just not in the right mind space right now. Okay. Take a walk, see green. And there's some research behind, when you see green, what happens to your mental state as well. But the cortisol half-life has about 18 minutes. Now, how much cortisol, what's the stressful situation, all the things, right? I mean, you can get pretty heated at times. People can get pretty heated. I'm not suggesting 18 minutes later, you're good, right? That half-life, you might still be super heated, but it was just neat to learn that, okay, taking a walk, as they say, take a walk.
Right. And get away from whatever it is.
Right. And this is the part of the book too, that I really want to get out there. I was kind of sick and tired of hearing my whole life, but now I appreciate it. Robertson, calm down, take a walk. Don't tell me.
The best way to get me not to calm down is tell me to calm down.
Right. Yeah. And what's the saying out there in the history of telling people to calm down? No one has ever calmed down, right?
Right, exactly.
So, but now thinking, you're right. I do need to take a walk. The people saying it didn't know what was going on. So this is the part of the book of saying, when people say take a walk, or you should say, I need to take a walk, here's what's going to happen. Right? You will actually lower the cortisol with cortisol stress level. And it's a protection. It's there to protect you. Right.
Right.
So,
and when you say take a walk and see green, are you talking about the color or
green? Yeah. Sorry. Green grass, forest.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a research that shows the default mode network in your brain, which your brain will do whenever you're, call it daydreaming. I say scatterbrain, right? When you're just sitting here and it'll think of the future. So an hour ago, if I'm scatterbrained, I'm thinking about Sloan at 11. Like I got to get things ready, whatever. Meanwhile, I was, I had an errand to do. I went to the bank, so I'm walking. Or it'll think about the past. Yesterday if I said this, that wasn't very good. Or it'll turn on yourself. Am I good enough for this? How do I look today? Did I say the right thing? All this stuff, right? So It'll think about the future, hasn't happened yet. Think about the past, gone, or it'll turn on to you.
Right.
And that's the deal. Unless I give it some direction. And when you start to see green, forest, green grass, just nice scenery, it'll actually ground yourself present. And so that was something neat to learn. Yeah, it was something neat to learn too. Like when I literally went out for a bike ride with my kid in the forest, I'd known this, and it's like, this is beautiful. I'm right here. I can feel myself being right here. I don't even want to think about other things. So that was kind of neat.
Yeah. I like that. I like that stepping away, or that the nature, right? Being in nature, you often hear like ground yourself, right? Walking on the grass barefoot, and getting away from ourselves to see that because often when we're in these, you talked about the black and white thinking, like the all or nothing, right? When we get into those modes, we are so wrapped up in our own self. We're so tightly wound about whatever it is that we think, that we can't get outside of ourselves, right? And stepping away, getting in nature, seeing there's something more than what we're worried about in that moment is, for me at least, it's helped me be like, okay, wait a minute, like, let me take a step back here. And it softens myself to let me think of other things.
How many times have people said, because it's happened to me, God, I should have said that. I can't believe this didn't come up. I couldn't think straight. I'm like, correct. That you were correct. You couldn't think straight. Here's why. And dig deeper, right? There may be other issues, but in that moment, boss yelled at you, spouse, work, client said no, I don't know, traffic, something. You got out, you had to talk to someone in traffic, and you lose your mind. So you're right. You couldn't think straight. And then 45 minutes later, 2 days later, I specifically recall situations being like, oh, I should have said this to Sloan.
Yeah.
Meeting. I really should have. That would have worked way better. Next time. Because all of a sudden you're calmer, the cortisol's gone, back state. Maybe you're sitting on the couch, you're totally chill, and your brain's in a better state. Oh, I should have said this. Yeah. Well, you couldn't have at the time because you were kind of heated a little bit, right? Conversation went back and forth. Really neat to learn things you got to practice and build on, because that's an emotional intelligence skill that you can learn, you can build. There's, like anything, any physical activity, diet, going somewhere, some things are easier than others.
Yeah. And I like that because I've often felt in those situations where I wished I would have said something, or I should have handled it differently. Then I start the blame game, right? I blame myself. I feel guilty, or I feel bad. But what you're illustrating there is that it couldn't have happened given the state you were in, right? That they conflict with each other. There's no, so to me, there's some relief in that, because it takes that feeling of blame or guilt off of you, because you understand physiologically what was going on at the time.
Yeah, your brain's protecting you, right? Absolutely. And that's that's exactly what I learned about it. Was in that moment I was heated, and depending on, and it can be as simple as, like I said, in a client meeting for myself, they say no.
Yeah.
And done all this work and all these things. They say no. And I go, what? No. What? Right. And so, okay, help me understand what's going on. And you're a bit more cool. What's going on with you? And you figure that stuff out. And then again, next time, I don't know, you car accident, which is unfortunate. You're heated. Everyone's, but who knows in that situation? I think of fender benders or something, right? And I've been lucky enough not to get in an accident, but you get out, you're pissed. People are upset.
Right.
You get out and you find out that person's trying to race to the hospital to get to something. You go, oh my God, let me drive you. And so it changes, right? Or it can change if you're ready to say, let me figure this out first.
Right.
And then assign emotion. I don't know, someone comes at me and starts to get upset. Maybe I've got the right to say, all right, I'm going to be pissed as well then.
Right.
So it's just the ability to recognize that emotion's going to get assigned. It's what the amygdala does. And then how do I react from here?
Right. And you have a choice in it, right? Because often it feels like we don't. It feels like our emotions just carry us and we're just along for the ride. But what you're talking about, what you're illustrating in the book, is how there's a different way. We can do it differently. I love that. That's what we talk about on the show. Different perspectives, different ways to show up in this world so that we're living that life that we want to live. Like what you hear so far? Take what you've learned and invest in yourself with the Create What You Speak Academy. Visit createwhatyouspeak.com to learn more. Now back to the show.
Here's a quote. I was going to think it was for the end. You said, what's some advice you'd want to leave people? So hopefully I'm doing it early, but I got to get this out because it's right now. never make a decision when you're sad, never reply when you're angry. A lot of people know that one. And never make a promise when you're happy. And I consistently make a promise when I'm happy to my friends. We're on vacation. Like, I'm going to call you next week. Let's plan that. Want to book a reunion? Let's do it next month. Right. I'll come visit you. Yes, yes, yes. So, and I'm just, because you're in euphoria, right? So that spoke to me a lot there. Never make a decision when you're sad. Never reply when you're angry, and never make a promise when you're happy.
I love that. Yeah, I love that too.
Mm-hmm. Lots is happening with emotions there. Lots of amygdala stuff there.
Yeah. And it's getting, it's a great reminder of that. Cause I'm thinking I've done that too. And I remember over the past 2 years, my talking with my friends, and, we'd be in, not be in the best mental state. And, the statement was always, now is not the time for decisions. We're not feeling, whatever we were all working through. It'd be like, now's not the time for decisions. And that definitely served us well. But I like having those other parts of it too, because there's those other emotions that come up. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You talk in the book also about how we should treat sleep as the single biggest championship game we ever played, or the single biggest meeting we've ever been a part of. I loved that so much. And every time I get ready for bed, I'm thinking about that, because I do struggle with sleeping. Like I'm sure a lot of people do. And I'm thinking, okay, how can I get ready for this? How can I make this, be like I'm getting ready for something big in my life? So can you explain a little bit about what you meant by that, those statements?
So the more I read and learned and continue to learn, there's some scary things to learn about sleep as well, which is, I guess, led me to really find the positives, because, sleep deprivation over time, over this, I've learned about different careers and jobs that are actually linked to, on the same level as a narcotic, because they're so sleep deprived. And I thought, good Lord. So Dr. Matt Walker was a big one, and I know he's renowned and does a ton of speaking. So I try to watch him and research him and learn from him. So there's nothing in your life you'll commit to longer, other than just being alive, than sleep. Mm-hmm. That's a fact, because you're not going to do anything. I don't care if you have a 50-year career. It's going to be over, right? And you didn't start that career till you're 20. So what did you do for the first 20 years? There's nothing in your life other than just being alive that you'll commit to longer than sleeping, not spouses, relationships. So 33% of your life, roughly the 8 hours. I haven't done the math, but even people say sleep 6. Okay, you still commit to that longer than anything else. So the 33% of your life, I'm like, 33% of your life, just start to do the math. How much did you spend in your bed? $300, $300, 33% of your life, $300, right? Spend 30 grand on your bed. Well, what's it going to do for me? I don't know. Do the research on what do I need? What's the best pillow? How do I sleep? Stuff. And yeah, so the research behind, I just really try to figure out how can I shut it down? And you'll learn so many things. Sleep to me is the same way as what works for you. Big one is don't do screens before bed. Okay, now there's blue light filters. So can I do a screen before bed? Because there's no blue light. So, and then what's the blue light filter really doing? What it's doing is turning off the melatonin in the back of your eye. So it's not releasing the melatonin. Your eyes, your brain thinks it's daylight. I'm like, okay, so the blue light will let my body release melatonin. Is that what this is saying? So can I be on a screen? Sometimes I'm on a screen. I pass out to the TV. I have a great sleep. Okay, maybe that works for me. Some type of meditation before bed, reflection, journals. Maybe you just pass out. Maybe you're good at sleeping. But yeah, the big thing for me was waking up, having that quality sleep, being able to wake up at 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever that time is, and being awake, right? You hear people lots. It never made sense to me of, oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, you just slept for 8 hours.
Right.
How are you still tired? I'm like, what? How? Oh, I need time to wake up. You're what? So I'm trying to figure that out more. I'm like, you've been awake, and I get it takes some time. And not that I wake up out of bed and jump, Tony the Tiger, but when I wake up, I want to go, all right, I'm awake. Let's go.
Ready.
So that's been a big thing for me. Yeah. Like and I think, you allude to the biggest meeting. and championships. Any athlete would say that for sure. I mean, my past athletic background and from hockey and some guys that I know in pro, I'm like, you hear eat, breathe, and sleep their sport. And they literally, right? They'll do meditation, the way they eat, when they eat, how they eat, time they eat, how much they eat. Getting to the gym, the game, the focus, the everything for this sport or this job that will end. It will end, right?
Right.
So I've tried to become the best at sleep. And I've tried to say that, in the book, and wake up and go like, yes, I nailed it. Yeah. Wicked sleep. It's not going to happen every night. I wake up sometimes, I go, I didn't have a great sleep. So what's the next tool? How can I make this a great day? I'm a little fuzzy today. No big deal. But for the vast majority of the time, I always want to wake up and be like, nailed that one. Yeah, all right. This is going to be a good start. Right.
Yeah. And I let you talk in the book about how you wouldn't get drunk before the big game or a big meeting, or you wouldn't eat a big meal before you played a big game, or, probably went into a big meeting where you had to be on and presenting. So that is such a different and unique way, I think, to think about sleep and really treating it as a priority. Right. I know, like I said, I don't sleep all that well. I try different things. One for me is the room has to be dark. It has to be, and I sleep with a mask over my eyes because I just like that. And what I do before sleep is I listen to ASMR. Do you know what that is?
I listen to this guy called the French Whisperer.
I listen to him too. Oh my gosh, that guy, he tells those stories. Yes. And there's so many, and actually when I first heard about ASMR, I was like, is this for real? Like the tapping and the scratching, and all this stuff. But now I've found I enjoy, I'm looking forward to getting into bed and listening to that because it relaxes me so much and it calms my mind before I sleep. But I think that whatever that is for people, whatever their ritual is or their nightly routine, making sleep a priority, there's such a difference. Like over the past 2 years, I didn't know what it meant to get a good night's sleep until we were there was nothing else to do but be at home. And I went to bed early because that was it. There was nothing else to do. Right. And once I started doing that and I did it consistently, I was like, wow, I've never gotten good sleep. I've never had good sleep. And then I was like, I don't want to, I want more of this, right? This is this drug. Changes my life, right? Yeah. I feel good. There's so many positives to that. So once you do it and once you have experienced good sleep, it's like you won't accept anything less.
I had so many thoughts there. The sleep, getting drunk, get it. The ASMR, the tapping you talked about, which is really cool. And for those who aren't familiar with ASMR, they do these things where they'll tap on various things like wood or cork, or they'll scratch their fingernails on various materials, which sounds really odd just talking about it. But when you listen to it, there is a calming, if they're doing it right, there's a calming effect to that. So I would highly encourage everybody to look that up. It's just called ASMR, automatic sensory motor response, or something like that. So you mentioned, so that's what they do in the ASMR. There's actually a method out there called tapping, and it's a thing for sleep. And if people look at it, I just started that, which is really, really cool too. And I love, here's the thing with, I'll bulk that all into meditation. Here's the thing with meditation. I think that a lot of people, I want to get across too, is that unlike eating food, right? If you eat healthy food, you might not feel it. If you eat too much food, you feel full. You can feel it. Work out, your muscles will get sore. What I've noticed with, the ASMR or writing in a journal, you don't feel it. And I think that's where people start to be, I don't know what's the difference, because you're not going to actually physically feel it until you're able to really tone into I am relaxed, right? So the ASMR or any type of meditation, listening to something, writing down, you got to start to really recognize, I didn't do screens and I listened to this ASMR. Didn't like that one. Listen to this one. I fell asleep. Well, let's try that again. Yeah. Now you're into this meditation, call it routine, of something that works for you. So that's the one thing I would pass along with someone is when you start these things to find out what it is, again, as simple as writing in a journal, which a lot of people talk about, being grateful, writing down things you're grateful for. So it just shifts your mindset. You're not going to feel that, right? I'm really grateful for Sloan for reaching out and having the conversation today. Wrote it down, gone, meant it. What's some feelings? Happiness, joy, we laughed. Awesome. Done. You're not going to feel that, but at least you didn't sit here and go watch the news and watch something bad, right?
Right.
So I think that's the big thing I'd pass along to some people is when it comes to the meditation and getting into sleep, what are some things you're doing where you may not feel it, but you're really starting to try to calm your mind down?
And you start to, once you've done that, you start to look for more of that, right? Let's say the journaling, right? What you're grateful for, right? You're looking for more of that throughout your day because you know at the end of the day, oh, I'm going to write this down. So I want to remember this, so you're going to start looking at things differently because you're not looking at these negative or, doom and gloom things. You're shifting your perspective.
Every morning an exercise I do, and it was something that was brought to my attention. So I started doing, I love it. Write down, it's write down 3 things you're grateful for. As much as, and I'll sit here and go, I can't think of anything. I'm like, wait a second, coffee. I'm grateful for coffee, running water, socks, and a computer. That's it. People go, what do you, I'm like, I want to focus. I'm grateful for that. Right. And then I am statements.
Yes, I am.
Which I'm a big fan, right? Yeah, just powerful. And I write them down one time. I have a massive poster here that I got made up from my who designed the cover of my book. So he made up a poster with me, and and it's just simply that. And when people say, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm great. I am a good husband. I am anything, just anything you want to tell yourself, as opposed to, I'm not in good shape. I'm fat. I'm not a good employee. I'm like, if you tell yourself that, you're going to just wire it. So right. In your own time, out loud in the car, which is a huge one for people, just say, lie to yourself. I am super rich. Perfect. Keep doing it. Right.
Yeah. I am whatever I say after that. Right.
Yeah,
I am literally whatever I say after that. Mm-hmm. And that's, it's such a short statement, but so powerful because you'll believe whatever comes after that. So you have the choice in that, in saying that.
And people, you won't feel it. And that's, I guess you just got to trust the process.
Yeah.
I'll give kudos to, it's not the first one to come up with it, but Simon Sinek about, when you brush your teeth, I always repeat this to a lot of people, you brush your teeth for 2 minutes a day. What do you feel? Nothing. You're not doing anything. Brush your teeth 2 minutes a day, every day for 2 minutes, twice a day. You get to the dentist. Wow, you've done well, right? But he says, if you brush your teeth 2 minutes a day, go to the dentist 6 months later, your teeth are falling out. Same with working out. You work out for 20 minutes, you come home. What do you see? Nothing. Go to the gym, work out 20 minutes. What do you see? Nothing. Well, it must not be working. So I'll quit. Right. And that's quote unquote from Simon Sinek. But he says, if you continue to work out every day for 20, eventually you'll be in shape, and you'll maybe eat something healthy, and maybe you go a little harder and lift a little heavier weight or run a little faster. You'll just get better and better and better. And one day you'll be in better shape. Right. That's the idea with the I am statements, that you'll follow it and you'll believe it. And you'll continue to do the things that will help you get there, right? Especially if things you believe, I'm in great shape. All right, you'll get there.
Right, exactly. One of my other favorite examples in the book is when you mentioned this earlier about the rain forecast, about the rain weather being wrong most of the time, and how not only is the weather wrong, that often prevents us from doing fun things, but also that voice inside of our head is often wrong too, right? We have these thoughts that come up and they're just worrying, or I talk about them being on a loop a lot. But your response to that was actually where I got the title for this week, which was When You Hear Rain, Think Sun. And that was so, I smiled when I read that in the book, because it's so true, first off. But I think it goes back to focusing on whatever our focus is what we're going to get. And so can you tell us a little bit more about maybe that voice that tries to stop us? And you mentioned about the need for certainty and stuff like that, but what can we do with that voice to make sure we have a great day?
So for me is bad weather. I don't even know what the bad weather is, because people around North America are listening to this. There could be anywhere. For me, snow and rain. Rain, who cares? But snow. Where's it going to snow? How long is it going to snow? How much is it going to snow? Okay. Today, last couple of days, I mentioned we had record snowfalls in Ontario. We didn't go anywhere. The roads are still crazy. But the going up to grandma's place, well, we're not going to drive today. I'm like, what? We're in Canada. We don't have snow plows, or how the roads? Let's wait a few extra hours. And what if we just take our time and go safely and get to grandma and grandpa's? We're having a great time. So how does that look? And can we think of a different way to get there? I have two great examples from last summer golfing with some colleagues and some friends. It's going to rain. Okay. How long, where, when, all the things. And wrote a colleague of mine who's coming and said it's supposed to rain. He looks it up and says, it says 1 centimeter. I've golfed in this stuff. We go, it does not rain. I think it was overcast and it was gorgeous. And we were all literally like, should we not, should we? Like, come on. So it's just digging a little deeper than it's going to rain. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And learning enough about rain last summer from buddies from golf and stuff, like it could bypass your golf course. It could bypass your area because raining means it's going to take up this area but it's only going to rain over here. But it's the whole area is taken into account, right? It's going to rain in Nashville. No, it's going to rain downtown. Right. I'm out here. Right. It rained downtown. I always won't go downtown. So right. I think for me is got the information. I get it. Right. Here comes the emotion. What's going on? Let's think a little further, do some research. I really want to go to the zoo. I really want to go to the park today. I really want to go to grandma and grandpa's. So can I make it a great day? Can I shift that and get there? Maybe not. But it's just not taking it and saying, oh, okay, thanks for the information. You've made my decision for me.
Right. No, and close the door, right? Because sometimes it feels like that's an excuse, right? Well, I'm not going to go because it's supposed to rain, or we limit ourselves, or we tell ourselves these stories of why we can't do what we want to do and blame it on some outside influence. When in reality, that outside influence, be it the weather or even, the voice in our head that's telling us these things like you can't have this, or you're not good enough, or, whatever the story is. Sometimes it's, we need to question those things. We need to start really pushing back in our mind. Like, is that really true? Or am I just making an excuse to not, for whatever reason?
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'll allude to my position on the pandemic for 24 months with a lot of people, because I've been in the position of learning from the whole time. I'm not the expert. The experts are speaking on camera, which is fantastic, but listening to everyone and their opinion. You're absolutely entitled to your own opinion. What you're not entitled to are your own facts. What I found in the last 24 months that people are becoming more entitled to their own facts. Great. So my position there was just learning. So who'd you learn that from? This person. Who's that person? Okay. Tell me more about them. Well, what makes you believe that person? And just getting to open up because I want to learn. And the other one was the fear side of it and the uncertainty side of it, which has been enormous, was, okay, so if you get COVID, what happens? Okay. And then what happened? Okay. And then what happened? And okay, keep going. And then they're like, so let me understand this. If you get COVID, you will die. That's where you brought me down that line. I'm like, do you see where I'm going here? I'm like, of course you'd be scared. I don't blame you, right? You've taken your story from here to I will die because I've got you to take me along that journey. Not saying you're wrong, but that's the journey is inside your head right now. You get COVID, you're dead. So that's scary, like anything, right? Now back up and trying to learn because I want to learn that stuff. So there's been a big position for me and a big learning curve over the last 24 months of just saying, hold on, tell me more about what you know. I don't know everything. Of course not.
Yeah. Asking the questions. I used to, one of the taglines of the show used to be question everything, trust yourself and find your truth. Like, so I think questioning is definitely, and we could talk for hours probably about a lot of this, but unfortunately we're coming up at the end of our time. My guest this week has been Jarrett Robertson, author of Make It a Great Day, How to Feel Awesome so that you can help others. And I know you mentioned because the question I always ask at the end of the show is what's one piece of advice you'd like to leave with the listener. So I know you mentioned it earlier, but maybe you want to mention it again. And if there's anything else you'd like to add.
You know what? It's because I read it and reminded me. So the one I mentioned earlier about never reply when you're angry, never make a decision when you're sad, and never make a promise when you're happy. But what I will leave people with, some advice that I love is make yourself laugh in a day. And that's a chapter in the book. It's the first chapter. And the point of that is even if, there's some struggles going on, if there's something traumatic going on, I get it. Watching a YouTube clip's not going to change the world. But I just grab something and laugh for that 30 seconds in a car, even if it's inside, because there's things happening inside your body that are beneficial for your health. So that would be a piece of advice, is just watch a quick YouTube and listen to something for, again, 30 seconds. Huge benefits for the day. So
yeah, and it feels good to laugh. It just feels good.
Absolutely.
Okay, Jared, I want to thank you for being on the show this week. It's been so great talking to you and learning more about your book.
Thank you so much, Sloan.
You've been listening to the Create What You Speak podcast, brought to you by webtalkradio.net. You can hear the podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite podcasting platform. I'm Sloan Fremont, and I hope you'll join me for the next episode of the Create What You Speak podcast, where we will continue to free our minds so we can live the life we're meant to live. Check out my website, sloanfremont.com, to learn more.